Hello and welcome to Beyond Boundaries. Today I am joined by two great, wonderful ladies, one of whom I know incredibly well, Anna. Hi.
Hi.
And one I only met yesterday, Tetiana. Hi.
Hi.
Could I ask both of you guys to do a quick introduction, and we are going to dive into the world of Insurtech Australia.
Of course. My name is Anna Cranney and I'm the Partnerships Manager at Insurtech Australia. And my role is to lead and support partnerships that we have with our corporate partners for the ultimate goal to support and influence the Insurtech ecosystem in Australia and globally. And that's how we met.
Yeah, indeed. And Tetiana?
So my name's Tetiana George. I am an Insurtech founder, so I've started a company here in Australia, Curium. Also, I wear many hats. I'm the co-chair of Insurtech Australia, and also together with our CEO, I sit on the regulatory panel here in Australia, working with regulators about future of regulation.
Okay, cool. How long have you been co-chairing Insurtech Australia?
I've been a director for over 2 years, and start of this year, we've decided to add a co-chair.
Okay, good stuff. Well, welcome to Insurtech Australia. Now, Anna, I'm going to start with you. So we've met and hung out, maybe ran in various places around the world. Where was that? Vegas?
We went for a run in Vegas.
Vegas, maybe. There you go. Now, tell me more about Insurtech Australia, right? Just give me the kind of the elevator pitch. What do you guys do? How do you operate?
So we're an industry association. We're a not-for-profit and we exist to support Insurtech, so startups and scale-up businesses that have a link into and a solution for the world of insurance. And we have many different stakeholders in that ecosystem, investors, startups, entrepreneurs, and very importantly as well, our corporates and corporate partnerships and the likes of insurers. So we work with some of the Australian and leading global insurers in our ecosystem.
Okay, super cool. And how long has it been up and running?
We've been around since 2019 formally. Before that, we did exist, but the way that we started was essentially just a meetup group. But since and sort of post-COVID, we really formalised that and grown exponentially over the past 3, 4, 5 years.
Okay, cool. So I'm really keen to dive into what it means to kind of be in Australia, the innovation that you're seeing and the balance on a global scale. Turning my attention to you, Tetiana, the accent suggests that you're not from Australia. European.
Yes.
So you've seen both sides, both sides of that world,
and
right?
Asia.
And Asia. Okay, great. But you say you started your business here in Sydney. Is that because you're now living in Sydney, or is it a strategic choice to have come to Australia to set up the business?
No. I came to live here. I actually came to work as a part of a consulting firm to do a major separation of a bank and an insurer. That's what happened here in Australia quite a bit. Banks sold their insurance arms and put them up as independent bodies. Australia is an interesting country if you want to think about it. At least I've worked in more than 25 countries.
Wow.
And I've always had these very, very high-paying, high-flying jobs, like the crazy ones. So you work 80 to 100 hours a week and in a different country every week. And you can earn a lot of money. Here I figured you can't. So in my humble perspective, the corporate ladder and those very, very high-paying jobs, there are probably like 10 of them in the whole industry.
Interesting.
So that kind of limits your opportunities. And if you're ambitious and want to do a lot of things, I find on the corporate side, it's a very slow pace compared to other countries like Asia, US, Europe. I find it much faster. But then I found it very interesting that Australia has a very, very big middle layer or SME kind of space. So it's very similar to German Mittelstand, if you think about it. A lot of innovation happens just behind, one step below the big corporates. And once I kind of figured out the dynamics, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do.
Being set up your own business.
Yeah.
And is that because then the opportunity is limitless as opposed to the capped structure? That's super interesting. And how long have you been? Sorry, I don't mean to keep asking you date-related questions. How long have you been running your startup?
Well, it's almost 5 years now.
Okay, cool. And do you echo that? So from what you're seeing from a big business, and we're of course here talking insurance, that it's I don't know if we're saying behind, maybe not be the right word, but when you're thinking from an innovation and technology perspective, how does it compare in terms of what you're seeing here in Australia to the rest of the world? Because again, whether it's Vegas or elsewhere, you've travelled plenty.
Yes, I have also lived in Germany and the UK, and for a time in Cologne, actually, so kind of colourful city. But in terms of innovation and what's driving innovation in Australia, yes, we do see that those who have found a niche, a problem, or looking to solve with some element of capability through tech, often they have had a background in the Australian insurance industry and have sort of looked to see where they could sort of apply a solution to that. We see that across our more than 100 Insurtech members, and then very much those who are driving those solutions with their area of technical expertise that they're applying, whether it's SaaS businesses or claims tech, claims-related solutions, or other underwriting and data-driven capabilities to support that. In terms of how it compares to the rest of the world, I think Australia is quite a unique environment, and we always say, Insurtech Australia bringing Insurtech to the world. Mm-hmm. Our highly regulated insurance market, our kind of opportunities for technology to thrive in that environment, geographically being so far away from the rest of the world, Europe, the US, it's a great breeding ground for tech and for insurance innovation. So we do see some businesses coming here to really use it as a testing ground for insurance. So highly regulated market, English speaking, and opportunities to sort of push the boundaries with Insurtech opportunities, and working with the sort of smaller insurance industry compared to the rest of the world is a great opportunity for them to sort of launch their Insurtech to the world.
If I might kind of add a few points. So it's not just we are regulated, we have a right kind of regulation. So if you compare, let's say, Australia and India is my favorite example. Mm-hmm. India has 1.4 plus billion people. Australia has 27 million. We have more than 100 fully licensed insurers and more than 250 MGAs. India has, I believe, less than 100 insurers. That's it. Yeah. And not the only reason, but one of the very big reasons is we allow for, there's a lot of regulation about the customer primarily. Most Australian regulation is directed towards the welfare of the customer, but every player can have their own financial services license, and that gives them so much freedom. So we literally have these MGAs. I keep making this joke, like mushrooms. Like a new one pops up every month doing something you've never heard before, like M&A insurance or whatever, some very niche thing. And these things fuel innovation in an interesting way because they don't have the same money as large insurers do, but they have all the same needs and all the same obligations.
And often they are driven by the new technology, and they're not encumbered by the sort of legacy systems and sort of acquisitions of insurers buying insurers, or businesses buying insurers stacked upon stack of upon each other. So they do have that opportunity to drive kind of new product innovation or development in those areas.
After I left my big paying consulting job, I actually went and became one of the first employees of such an MGA. We started with like $0. Something. Within 18 months, we were writing $120 million in premium. Like, that's the level of growth you can get to really, really quickly. It's just...
And is it that, so if you were to set up a business locally, that you typically are seeing these startups working with the domestic market? Or, because you talked about outside in, but are these guys looking to push into the Asian markets or other English-speaking markets?
It's a great point, very much so. So I'd say 70% of ours are local, homegrown talent, looking to and they do have to consider this very early on as to how they will look to scale to gain market. Australia is a smaller market, so to gain that growth and opportunity, they need to look elsewhere. Commonly, they will look to land into Singapore in terms of a stepping stone into Asia, or other regions across Southeast Asia, also into the US, various states and markets in the US, and then of course the home of insurance in the UK, and then into Europe. So.
And do you echo that as a startup founder? Is that when you're thinking about your business, so 5 years in now?
So I can tell you why Anna says you need to describe it very early on, because nobody's going to give you money if it's an Australia-only case.
Okay.
You're never going to get funding if it's just something in Australia. Market is, whilst it's over $100 billion in revenue, getting to that is never going to make your startup case. So you need to already have a path to scale internationally very quickly from literally day one.
Okay. And access to capital, let's just carry that on. Is it a challenge?
I think the great businesses with very driven and kind of motivated and charismatic leaders and kind of founders will very much drive their business and the way that their business is going to succeed. We see that all the time. We did develop a report to sort of do and working with Sønr, which was really great to have the data-driven insights from Sønr to be able to commission this report with PFS Consulting around the landscape for investment in Australia and what that looks to do for Australian insurtechs.
Any key findings that are worth sharing? Have you read the report?
I've read the 50-page report.
It's a good report. You've done a good job.
In terms of key findings, very much topical and kind of themes that were drawn out of that include climate-driven solutions, quantum and other kind of data analytics. AI is always a topic, but how that is being driven in terms of pragmatic and practical application is really interesting. And again, back to that regulatory-driven environment is a great breeding ground and fostering innovation through RegTech, the presence of other industry associations that we work quite closely with, including the RegTech Association, FinTech Australia. It's just evident of the growth and opportunity for that environment. But back to the investment question, yes, we work very closely with a range of other kind of CVC or investment arms, and also we do see our Insurtech members looking overseas for investment as to how they structure their business. That's also a consideration too, where they want that parental ownership.
Do you have the overseas investment coming into local businesses?
So I can give a little more color on that. I've been through that a few times. So in Australia, we've got, I think, 3 or 4 large independent VCs, and then we've got many, many small ones. The fact about Australia, it's so small as a country. So whatever funds they've got, they don't understand insurance. It's not even a thing. It's not even a vertical. It always gets lost in some fintech something. Mm-hmm. So at least in my own kind of experience, when I tried to do a VC round, 70% of my time I was explaining 101 of insurance to grads. And it's
tough, right?
It's really frustrating.
Yeah.
And I know that in other markets, especially Europe and US, it's very different because the market is so much bigger. You actually, from your first round, you get into the right kind of on the right train where people don't ask you what is a premium and why is this a problem. So it's much easier. Then when going international, a lot of companies, they do need to find their first round here most of the time. And then there's for the second round, if you're successful, you've proven this, then I have a feeling, get a lot more access to international capital. Then you become more interesting to the likes of, like the...
And it depends how much you're looking to raise as well. So, we have the likes of the largest success stories for our insurtechs, the Cover Genius of the world, Honey, have raised substantial amounts of funds overseas in US and other businesses in UK markets. In Australia, I think there are still those pockets of opportunity. It's how you kind of present that sort of size of scale and growth for your business and what that's looking to achieve. So I wouldn't write it off. I just say it's a harder race to run.
Yeah. What are the let's look at the positives from within the market. What are the real strengths of the Australian kind of Insurtech ecosystem? And maybe even within that, are there any kind of flavors of strength? Are there any particular dominance within, we talked like quantum, we've talked AI, we've talked, are there any particular kind of aspects of this industry that are getting a lot of focus or a lot of innovation taking place?
Again, I really would link it back to the breeding ground for claims tech in Australia, given our kind of climate and kind of opportunities to enhance technology through claims-driven solutions. And again, our regulatory environment, breeding ground for regulatory reporting tools, opportunities for greater efficiencies and operational kind of knitting together of how that reflects then and links back to the customer, the overall experience of that customer. So it's not taking, we work with one Insurtech, for example, so it's not taking months for claims assessments to happen. It's, reducing those times down to sort of building technology to support the claims process so that it can reduce it from months down to weeks and days and hours, makes a huge difference for the industry. I think there's still far more to come.
Which is the next question,
which is
right?
jumping ahead, which is really exciting, and what makes my role exciting to be able to work very closely with the large insurers and the large corporates who have a role in the Insurtech space, and then to be able to work together with those Insurtechs, bringing those solutions forward.
And then just keeping with you, Anna, for 1 second more. So then those large incumbents, again, when we look at our world of clients at Sønr, we have everybody's sitting at different points on the maturity curve, I guess, of how they're focused on innovation, their view on working with startup scale-ups, tech vendors, and so on. In terms of the opportunities that exist from collaboration between incumbents and the startup ecosystem, where are you seeing the appetite, or how great is the appetite from Australian insurers currently in terms of their desire to work with smaller businesses?
Well, firstly, I'd say they're all going through and experiencing the challenges and the emotional turbulence of large transformation projects and investment in large tech businesses to deliver on those. But the opportunity then that I see for Insurtechs is to where do they plug into those opportunities that are created through those larger transformation projects. We've worked with many businesses that are tapping into working with QBE or IAG, Suncorp as well, and it's great to see that collaboration evolving. I still do think there's more to come in terms of having a eyes up view and kind of lifting the gaze on what else is down the road, not just 2 years but 5 and 10 years, and where there's new technologies taking in the world of insurance, and what opportunities that is for. So drilling down to your comment question around themes, very much climate related, very much opportunities for product innovation and underwriting, and we're seeing that now early and offshore and in European and US markets, and bringing that back to Australia. I think Australia is still has more of the race to run in terms of where to take that.
And Tetiana, both, maybe wearing all your hats at once, what's missing that needs to be embraced by the Australian kind of Insurtech ecosystem? Sorry, I'm just like a load of cliched words coming out of my mouth here. But what needs to be improved, and what are you guys focused upon, both as an association, but also what that you would like to see from a startup founder, and also maybe kind of on the regulatory side with that hat as well?
I wouldn't say it's missing. I'd say it's a process. We're getting there. I think a lot of incumbents, they traditionally are kind of afraid to, burn their fingers in something that is small and might not be there tomorrow.
Makes sense, though, right, as well.
Yeah, so that's one. There's a little bit of risk aversion. Yeah. And on the startup side or Insurtech side, I don't know how to navigate these 30 decision makers to get through. So it's more about kind of almost like we call this breaking the barriers and bringing the two together, not necessarily on a pitch to me level, but on we've got very, very deep technical experts on one side and people who really need this deep technical expertise plus technology solution on the other side. How do we bring this together? How do we break all of those fears and risk aversion and you know, that and bring it together?
And I think Insurtech Australia does act as the connector.
Sure,
and I very much see my role and kind of our organisation and kind of led by Sønr, our CEO, to really to draw those the Insurtechs together with the insurers who have kind of really great opportunities to work together and we're the collaborator in that.
Exactly. And then, sorry, I just wanted to expand on the previous point about incumbents. We actually have interesting set of incumbents that's different to other countries. We have brokers. We have more than 11,000 brokers in this country, more than 5,000 brokerages as firms, because we do not have direct distribution. It's forbidden. We cannot have tied sales force going out and selling to customers. So that's why intermediaries run even personal policy space. So many of them, and they actually operate as incumbents. There are these big conglomerates that bundle together brokers and often MGAs. So we have almost like two more types of incumbents, not just large insurers, but we've got broker groups and we've got those large, I don't know how to call them, you know, the like large steadfasts and so on.
Oh, right? In terms of parental ownership of large brokerage.
Yes. And so those are also incumbents. But the good thing for us and the positive dynamic that works very much in our favor, a lot of the decision making is still distributed and still a lot of them are owner operated or GM or something like that. It's a much easier conversation. And I feel at least in the last year or so, definitely since I've been involved, we're making a lot of progress in getting through to them. And because they're part of something bigger is a very positive echo that's happening.
We are looking to broaden the brand of Insurtech Australia and where we kind of turn up and which industries we play in, because we are a small team and we represent a large ecosystem of Insurtechs, and how we do that in terms of our industry partnerships is an example of that. So yes, we work with industry partnerships such as industry organisations. Redo that. But we work with industry associations such as NIBA or the or UAC in Australia.
And the broker and the MGA, they've got their own associations.
Yeah.
So.
And it helps to not just get our brand out there to build and share what opportunities there are to partner, but also to highlight, particularly if that is to we'll host a broker-specific event later in the year to appeal to brokers around what opportunities for incorporating technology into their business, and then how that can be reflected in the products in which they sell and kind of pass on to customers. So it's definitely a value chain and kind of a model that there's a lot of engagement, and that's the beauty of insurance, is that so many aspects of engagement in terms of different periods where tech plays such a great role. So we're really keen to leverage that and support that at all parts of it.
And some of those players, they're larger than insurers.
Mm-hmm.
So they're significant. And I would call them, I don't know if you call them incumbents or not. I know it's not the traditional methodology, but I find for us it's a very exciting place because there's so many of them. The market actually is really, really big in the number of firms.
Cool. Maybe a last question to both of you. Insurtech Australia hat on. That is your hat, and just wear one of the three. Progress over the next sort of 12, 24, 36 months. What are the ambitions for you as an organisation over the near term, and what are you looking to achieve with that?
Yeah. Well, we're always looking to grow. We're always growing. We're bringing on new members and partners every month in terms of more involved in the ecosystem. Very much we're looking to hit on some key themes throughout the year in terms of claim. We've talked about claims tech. Also climate is a very popular topic. We'll again run our annual conference in February 2026. That's held in Sydney. So we would love some global attention and definitely involvement. So you're welcome to come down again to Sydney in summer. And in terms of, say, 3 to 5 years, we still are very much trying to bring Insurtech to the world, that homegrown opportunities for technology and what that and how that can be reflected in other markets. We're already seeing that with several of our insurtechs quite successfully setting up and scaling to the US and the UK. There's a number of those, which I always love talking about. And the best part about my job is to see those grow and flourish. And I think I just add another point in terms of those industry partnerships that we work with, and we've got a close collaboration with government and different bodies as well. So we work with Austrade or in state-based Investment New South Wales to be able to foster that innovation and kind of leg up into other markets, and any way that we can do that to support our insurtechs to start up and grow is really exciting to see, and we really do see that when they partner with the bigger businesses, or recently one insurtech has formed a partnership with Aviva in the UK, so it's really exciting to see them have those successes.
Love it. And for you, Tetiana, maybe final words, 6 months into your co-chair job, what does the future hold, and what are your ambitions for maybe driving change, driving more of the same? What is it that you want to get up to?
Well, my kind of idea of supporting Anna's, and we just had our direct strategy session, we would like to make Insurtech not this niche, tiny thing that people do not understand, but make it very much mainstream. Make it an equal partner at any table. Either you speak with the government, or you speak with the Association of Large Insurers or brokers, or we've got very, very valuable insights to contribute. And most importantly, we have solutions. We don't just talk. We can solve a lot of problems.
And I think globally, the term, and whether you call it innovation or insurtech or is quite a sort of accepted and normal term now. But bringing that and kind of growing that within the Australian ecosystem as well. So Insurtech Australia, not just as an organisation and who we are, but as a concept and an opportunity for us to foster innovation and technology in Australia, is an incredibly exciting export to the world. So our role in how we do that, and our board's role to lead that is really exciting.
What a lovely way to finish. Thank you, ladies. That was lovely chatting to you. It's great to be here in Sydney and do this in person finally. Finally,
thanks for coming down.
No, it's a pleasure. And thank you to all of you tuning in for the Beyond Boundaries interviews. And there will be another posted next week, no doubt. Thank you, Tetiana.
Thank you
very much, Anna.
Thanks, Matt.